Robert Francis Kennedy Jr., also known by his initials RFK Jr., is an American politician, environmental lawyer, anti-vaccine activist, and conspiracy theorist. He is the chairman and founder of Children's Health Defense, an anti-vaccine advocacy group that is a leading proponent of COVID-19 vaccine misinformation. He was an independent candidate in the 2024 United States presidential election. A member of the Kennedy family, he is a son of the U.S. Attorney General and Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and a nephew of the U.S. President John F. Kennedy and Senator Ted Kennedy. Born in 1954, Kennedy was the third of 11 children of Robert F. Kennedy and Ethel Skakel. He was raised at the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport, Massachusetts and Hickory Hill. Kennedy graduated from Palfrey Street School in 1972 and continued his education at Harvard University. He was assassinated at age 9 and 14 when his father was assassinated while running for president in 1968. After his father's death, Kennedy struggled with drug abuse, leading to his arrest and expulsion from 2 boarding schools. He experimented with heroin and cocaine at Harvard, earning a reputation as a Pied Piper and drug dealer. Former Manhattan DA Kennedy was convicted of heroin possession in 1983 and served 2 years of probation. He later worked at the Hudson River Fishermen's Association, Riverkeeper, where he litigated environmental enforcement lawsuits. Kennedy advocated for repealing unfriendly legislation and worked with John Cronin to write the Riverkeepers. He led a 34-year battle to close the Indian Point nuclear power plant and co-founded the Environmental Litigation Clinic at Pace University School of Law. In 1999, he formed the Waterkeeper Alliance, which now includes 344 license programs in 44 countries. Environmental lawyer Kennedy has been involved in watershed pollution cases, representing environmentalists and New York City watershed consumers. He helped orchestrate the $1.2 billion New York City watershed agreement and founded Kennedy and Madonna LLP in 2000. The firm secured $70 million settlements and was featured in the HBO documentary Man vs. Ford. Environmental attorney Kennedy has extensive experience in advising indigenous communities, founding Keeper Springs and serving as a senior advisor at Vantage Point Capital Partners. He has been involved in environmental advocacy, representing the NAACP, and working with indigenous tribes. Kennedy has criticized the U.S. military for environmental damage, campaigned against hydroelectric dams, and criticized economic inequality. He supports Elizabeth Warren's wealth tax plan and condemns the U.S.'s alliances with dictatorships, including Russia. Kennedy, an environmentalist, advocates for a global transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy, opposing hydropower from dams. He believes the current society and economy are unsustainable and based on a long-standing addiction to coal and oil. Kennedy has been involved in environmental cases, including suing Mobil Oil for polluting the Hudson and helping engineer a ban on fracking in New York State. He has also supported the Chippewayan First Nation and the Beaver Lake Cree. Kennedy criticizes President Donald Trump's environmental policies as a cataclysm and a growing hostility towards the environment. Kennedy has been critical of the voting process, publishing an article in Rolling Stone in 2006 claiming GOP operatives stole the 2004 presidential election for George W. Bush. He has also written about election hacking and voter purges. Kennedy has endorsed various political candidates, including his uncle Ted Kennedy, Alabama Gore, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump. He was considered for the Environmental Protection Agency administrator post-election, but was unlikely to win Senate confirmation due to his controversial statements and arrest for heroin possession in the 1980s. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a respected climate lawyer, considered running for political office in the 2000s but was not nominated due to his heroin conviction and opposition from Senate Republicans. In 2024, Kennedy filed for the Democratic presidential nomination and was considered for the Libertarian Party's nomination, but lost to Chase Oliver. Kennedy's campaign received support from Republican donors and Trump allies, but he dropped out and endorsed Trump, despite previously stating he would not join Trump on a presidential ticket. Kennedy, a prominent figure in the anti-vaccine movement, chairs the Children's Health Defense, an advocacy group that claims vaccines cause autism. The group spreads misinformation and is accused of buying anti-vaccine Facebook advertising. It falsely claims vaccines contain thimerosal, a mercury-based antimicrobial, which is not used in childhood vaccines. The Center for Countering Digital Hate identified Kennedy as responsible for up to 65% of anti-vaccine content. Kennedy, a prominent figure in the vaccine industry, has been accused of promoting a link between mercury and autism in vaccines. He was offered a position in the Trump administration and a $100,000 reward for pointing to a study showing the safety of injecting mercury into babies and pregnant women. Kennedy has faced criticism for fueling vaccine hesitancy, which led to the 2019 Samoa and Tonga measles outbreaks. Kennedy promoted conspiracy theories about vaccines and public health measures during the COVID-19 pandemic, including false claims about vaccine profit and Bill Gates funding cuts. His family distanced themselves from his anti-vaccination activities, condemning his comments equating public health measures with Nazi war crimes. Kennedy's views on HIV/AIDS, food allergies, Martha Moxley's murder, and John F. Kennedy's assassination have been criticized. Kennedy is a licensed master falconer, trained hawk since 11, and holds permits for various roles. He was president of the New York State Falconry Association and authored the New York State Apprentice Falconer's Manual. Kennedy is also a whitewater kayaker, having been introduced to it by his father. He led expeditions to Latin America and made an early descent of the Great Whale River in Quebec. In 2015, he took his sons to visit Mount Kennedy, Canada's highest unclimbed peak. Kennedy married Emily Ruth Black in 1982, and later married Mary Kathleen Richardson in 1994. They had 6 children. Kennedy was known for sending explicit nude photos and engaging in multiple affairs. In 2010, he filed for divorce from Richardson. Richardson died in 2012, and Kennedy won a court case to have her buried alongside family members in St. Francis Xavier Cemetery. After her death, her body was disinterred and moved to an empty area. In 2012, Kennedy began dating actress Cheryl Hines, and they married in 2014. They reside in Los Angeles and Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Kennedy faced heart problems, adductor spasmodic dysphonia, memory loss, and mental fog in his 40s due to caffeine, stress, and sleep deprivation. He is a Catholic, identifying with Francis of Assisi and expressing admiration for Pope John XXIII.